Okay, everybody, so I got to apologize first of all. The last time I did this video, I didn't realize the microphone on my iPhone was messed up, and when I posted the video onto YouTube, half the audio was cut out. So I'm going to try to go back and redo this again. I got a friend of mine doing the camera work for me so I can do a better job of pointing stuff out to you. So the purpose of this video, I'm doing basically an overview of the new 5R series tractor that our farm just purchased. The reason why I'm doing this and putting this out there, about a year ago when I started this process of looking to buy one, the 5Rs were so new that there really wasn't a lot of information out there on them yet. And I searched and searched and searched and I really couldn't get a lot of really good videos. So I wanted to get this one out there because I still, even today, 9 months later after we ordered and purchased and got this thing delivered, there still isn't a lot of information out there on them. So I want to do a really good video for you. So if you're actually thinking about looking at buying one of these things, that you have some ideas, some of the options that are available on it. So to give you a little background, we had a 5075M John Deere we sold and purchased this tractor to replace it. And there's a lot of different reasons as to why we did that, and I'll go over those as we go over some of the stuff. So this is a 125R John Deere. The 5R series tractors have been out for a little over a year now. They're a significant step up from an M in terms of some of the capabilities and a lot of the options and features that you can get on them. They offer 4 engine horsepowers on these tractors, 90, 100, 115, and 125. This is a 125 horsepower. This is actually the first time they offered 125 horsepower in a 5 series tractor. We also have on this tractor the 540R loader. The 540R loader is a brand new redesigned loader. They just came out with these kind of at the same time that they come out with the 5R tractors. They offer 2 different versions of this loader, a non-self-leveling and a self-leveling. This one is the non-self-leveling. And the kind of terrain we're at here in southwestern Pennsylvania, everything's hills. And the mechanical self-leveling sometimes can be a pain because when you're moving that boom up and down, it wants to self-adjust. So we just decided to go with the non-self-leveling. I'm going to go over first off on the loader a couple of the options that we have on it. And again, this is non-self-leveling. Some things we added on this, number one of the big things were these what they call bucket lights. These are LED work lights that are mounted to the mast of the loader, and they shine down on the area around the bucket on the left and right side. You can turn these on and off in the cab, and they are really, really nice. The other machine we had didn't have a loader on it, and it didn't have any provision to add anything like this. So this is a new feature from Deere that we really, really like. This is a quick detach loader, so you have a latching system on your mast right here on both sides. So basically all you do, you drop this lever down, lock it back up. That unhooks this side. You do the same thing on the other side, and then you drop your parking stands down on both sides of the mast. And then all you have to do basically to get this loader off, you come around to the other side. And as an option, you can also get this single point hydraulic connector, which if you're ordering this thing, I highly suggest you get this because it makes this coupling really nice. But basically, all of your hydraulic coupling or hoses couple to one position on this plate. In order to unhook this, basically all you do, you hit this red button, rotate this handle 180 degrees, and this whole assembly will come off as one. So you don't have to unhook individual hoses anymore, which is really nice. What's cool too, because there's electronics in this loader, the electronics also have their own quick couple added to that plate, so it all does it in one. Same thing, latch on this side, parking stand on this side. You unhook both of the latches, drop both of the parking stands, unhook your hydraulics, and then basically you're ready to back away from this loader. And you can really do this in about 2-3 minutes at the most. It doesn't take a lot of time. On the front of the loader here, some options we did add to it. This is a third function hydraulic loader, so we have third function on the hydraulic system. They also give you the same kind of quick coupler on the hydraulic system. And also on this one, what's really nice, we added as an option this hydraulic remote implement latch, which this system actually hydraulically actuates the locking mechanism that locks and unlocks the bucket. They have a hydraulic accumulator here that's activated on an electronic switch in the cab. When you hit that button, it releases the pressure and it pushes that bucket latch open for you. What's really cool too, when you unhook the bucket, drop the bucket off, and you go to your new implement and you hook it up, the minute you hit the latching plate and you move your plate against the implement, it's automatically latched. So that's really nice too. So you don't have to get out and throw the lever the other way. So that makes it really nice. On the tractor itself, and we'll just start here in the front, a couple options here. This tractor was ordered what they call loader ready as one of the packages. So it already came with the loader mast mounts as well as the control in the cab and this front grill guard. But one of the options you can add on these tractors is this front weight box or weight bracket rather. Obviously, because of the loader, you can't hang weights off of it, but we put that on there primarily because this tractor does two things. We do loader work with it when we're moving round bales, and then when we're not doing that, this tractor is used primarily to mow all the pastures here on this farm. And I have a big disc mower that's mounted on the 3-point hitch on the back. We weren't really sure if we were going to need the front weight bracket, but we figured we'd put it on there just in case when we drop the loader off, if we need a little extra weight up front, we have that option. Also on the front, one of the options we selected, we changed the standard halogen headlights out for these LED units from John Deere. These LEDs are really nice. The way they function, they have a high and low beam just like your normal halogen lights. The difference here, when you're in low beam, only 2 of the LEDs run. When you put it to high beam, all the LEDs turn on, and they are plenty bright enough to do anything you need to do with them. And what we like about them, they match the rest of the lights, which obviously that's not really that important, but it kind of makes the tractor look a lot nicer. When you're spending money like this, a couple $100 here or there really doesn't make it or break it. Coming around, so again, this is a 125 horsepower engine. This is the same 4.5 liter 4-cylinder that John Deere's been using for a long time, just with some different upgrades. One of the biggest things on this 5R series that sets it apart from the 5Ms and the lower tractors, they actually use what they call a structural oil pan. So the oil pan is built into the structure of this tractor. And what that did for John Deere was it allowed them to make this a little narrower and a little shorter. So this tractor has a fantastic turning radius, and it also really adds a lot of strength to the tractor. That structural oil pan is used on their larger tractors, I think the 7 and 8,000 series tractors. They've been using that for years. But it allows them to get a lot more turn on this front wheel assembly. If you had this 5R sitting next to a 5M, you'd notice that the tractor, a 5M, would actually be almost I think they said about a full bucket or so longer than the 5Rs. So it has a lot shorter turning radius. The front tires and rear tires, these are 14.9 R24 fronts, 18.4 R34 rears, and these are the Michelin Agribib radial tires. There are a ton of different tire and wheel options on these tractors. We went with these because they're one of the larger tire options that you can put on this tractor. These 18.4s are ballasted with rim guard, so these have liquid ballast in them. The ballast chart suggests that you can put up to about 1,000 pounds of liquid ballast per tire, so that's what we have here. Right up to the rim, you have about 1,000 pounds of ballast per tire. Then we also added these wheel weights in the rear. I think I have about 400 pounds of wheel weights on the rear of this, just to give you a little bit more counterweight for the loader work. I think from standard, these tires, the stock tire size on these is an 18.4 R30, and then I'm not sure what the front is, some type of R24. But we did add pivoting front fenders and rear fender extensions. One of the things we do with this tractor, we drop hay bales in the field all season long, and obviously when you get into winter it gets wet and nasty. These do a really good job of keeping all the mud and debris off the tractor, and especially off the glass, so you can see what you're doing. You don't have a lot of mess to clean up. This is an emissions tractor, so you have 2 tanks. You have one tank obviously for your diesel fuel. This will be ultra low sulfur diesel, and then you also have a tank for your DEF or your diesel exhaust fluid. What's nice is they give you a little sight glass down here so that you don't have to worry about overflow in this tank. You can see that right there. Always that tank's full right now, but that sight glass tells you when it's about full so that you don't have to worry about spilling your DEF. The toolbox was standard with the loader mast when you bought it loader ready, which is nice. We keep a toolbox in every tractor here on the farm. It's just handy to have some basic tools. It keeps all your tools and your dirt and your mess in here rather than in the cab, so it keeps the cab cleaner. On the cab itself, one of the options we added here are these what they call auxiliary loader lights, which are basically a second set of headlights. There's a switch on the dashboard that allows you to jump between those headlights and these headlights. The idea being, if you have a loader on your loader and you're up in the air and those front headlights are blocked, you hit the switch and these become your headlights. And they're nice. The only complaint I have here, and if John Deere, if you're watching this, this is something you need to take a look at. This entire tractor, all the lighting on this tractor is LED. When you add this auxiliary loader light, these go back to halogen. Not a big deal, but when you're spending a lot of money, it would be really nice to be able to click a button and get these in LED rather than halogen. So maybe down the road, that's something the engineering team can take a look at. But again, not a huge deal, but I'm pretty particular when it comes to tractors and stuff like that. I like to see all LED if I can get it. But on the cab, LED front work lights. You have 2 on the front up high, and then you also have what they've changed. One of the big changes on these R's, LED work lights in the back, but they've also added these side LEDs, which were really fantastic. A lot of times when you're working at night, you had great illumination on the M, you had great illumination on the back, great illumination on the front, but the sides of the tractor, everything was dark at nighttime. So adding these LED flood lamps on the sides are fantastic. It really helps to clean all this up and get it illuminated, so when you're operating, you're really not worried about what you're next to. And again, the LEDs are an upgrade on this tractor. These come standard in halogen. You can click a button when you're optioning the tractor and actually select these in LED. Also on the outside, so you have a rotating beacon light. This is a premium cab tractor, so it has manual telescopic mirrors. And then we can go into some things. We'll get into the cab here in a minute. You come around to the back of the tractor. We optioned this up with the remote PTO switches on the rear fenders. These are nice. You can activate these from the cab. These allow you to turn the PTO shaft from the outside of the tractor. So if you're hooking something up and it's not quite lined up, you don't have to really struggle and everything else. You can just bump this button a couple times and get that shaft to line up where you want it. You have your electric hydraulic hitch controls for your 3-point hitch on the left-hand fender as standard. We also, as an option, put it on the right-hand fender because a lot of times when you're hooking up a mower like this, it just helps to be able to control the hitch from both sides. This tractor is one of the options we selected was what they call the pressure and flow compensated closed center hydraulic system. So this has the upgraded hydraulics on it. The PFC system increases your flow capacity, but it also changes how the hydraulic system works. Basically, the hydraulic pump works in a standby mode until it senses there's a demand, and then it sends that pressure and flow to where it's demanded. The idea there, you actually gain, I think, about 10 horsepower because you're not turning the pump all the time, and it also doesn't heat your hydraulics up like an open center system does where the hydraulics are constantly cycling. Three selective control valves on this tractor, and when you go with 3 selective control valves and you go with the PFC system, the first 2 SCVs 1 and 2 become what they call a 300 series control valve. The third one is a 200 series. So the 300 series have 3 different running positions. The 200 series has 2. So you have a constant flow, you have a loader or no detent, and then you have an automatic detent on these ones. They've changed the covers. They went to these nice slide covers instead of the old flip cap ones. These are a lot nicer. Another option on the back here, we added this spill collector. So when you unhook your hydraulic hoses and you have that auxiliary or that extra fluid falling out, it falls down and it collects into this bottle rather than spilling all over the back of the tractor. We also optioned up to the 80 millimeter lift cylinders on your 3-point hitch instead of the factory standard 75 millimeter. Not a huge upgrade, but it didn't also cost a lot, and we kind of thought that for the 3-point hitch work that we're doing, it would be nice to have the heavier hitch just in case we needed that capacity. These tractors come standard with your left and right lower stabilizer links for your lower 3-point hitch arms. These are also the heavy-duty hitch arms that have the lift-up style telescopic lift links, which are nice. The old 5M that we had those ones that slide from the side. We didn't really care for those too much. These are a lot nicer. Top center link is standard, and then this tractor also has 540 and 540 economy PTOs, so you can switch between 540 standard and 540 economy. 540 standard, you have to run the engine, I believe, 2100 RPM to achieve full 540 RPM. With the economy mode on, you can get full 540 on the mower or on the PTO at 1640 or 1650 engine RPM. And I've been playing around with that a lot with this disc mower, and I can, on the level ground, I can run this mower in economy mode, and it saves a good bit of fuel, so it's worth getting. Coming around to the other side, again, same thing. You have a hitch control on the left or right-hand fender. That's an option, and then your remote PTO on this fender as well. And as I said before, this is an emissions tractor. So this tractor has your SCV, or excuse me, your SCR system, selective catalytic reduction, runs with DEF. We haven't had any trouble with it so far. I've got 40 hours on it. It's run fine. I've added some DEF to it, but it doesn't really consume that much DEF, I don't think, so far, compared to like what my pickup truck does. So I think it's a pretty good system so far. Overall, pretty much that kind of takes care of most of the outside of the tractor. I think what we'll do now, we're going to swing around to the other side and we'll go over some stuff on the cab. Okay, obviously we'll try to get you as best a perspective on this as we can. So again, this is the premium cab. A couple things we added right off the bat. Number one was this, what we call the instructor seat or the buddy seat. This is a new style seat compared to what they had in the M's. This seat's cloth, it's a little nicer. spring loaded. It just comes down when you need it, folds up when you don't. And it also has an adjustable backrest for different size operators, which is kind of nice. It's not a big seat, and it's not a lot of room in here because this cab isn't all that big. But it is a lot nicer to have something like this when you're training somebody. And every once in a while, the kids come out, they want to hang out with you. It's nice that they can have a seat that has a seat belt, so it's a lot safer than just riding the fender. Inside the cab, they've done a lot of changes inside the cab. One of which they changed, first of all, on the old 5M series tractors, they had a metal bar that ran across the front of the windshield from here to here. I don't know if it was, I guess it was some type of structural bar. They've now taken that out and they've made this whole front windshield one curved solid piece of glass, which is really nice, really improves your visibility. And we've also added as an option this panoramic roof. So this gives you the sunroof with the sliding cover and the sunshade, which is really nice. If you're running this tractor, if you're buying one of these tractors to do loader work, I highly, highly, highly recommend you pick this option. Our 5M did not have this option. We also didn't have a loader on it, but I can tell you right now, having run other tractors that don't have this option on it, when you go above the horizon line of the roof, you really lose that loader, and you spend a lot of time doing this. With this in position and this thing open, I mean, I can see everything that bucket's doing all the way up to the top. You know, in our operation here, we do a lot of loader work inside of buildings where your loader's up high, so we're stacking round bells and things like that. This is a must. I mean, this is one of the driving factors as to why we got rid of the 5M and got this tractor. When we found out this was an option, this is one of the things we definitely wanted to have. Also, too, some other changes. One of the things I like, they've changed this steering column around a lot. You used to have to use this lever to fold and collapse your steering column. They've now changed this. They have a pedal on the floor here that you depress that unlocks the steering column. Okay, once it's in position, you have another lever here that you can fine-tune this exactly where you want it. And then it's also, again, it's telescopic like they've always been. So you loosen the center knob and you can pull this up or down or put it wherever you want it to be, which is nice. So every operator, every person that gets into this tractor can adjust this thing however they want it to make it comfortable. Big change here on the power reverser. They've changed this reverser setup. They now include the park position in the actual reverser instead of it being over on the transmission side. So your reverser has a park position, a neutral position, and then your forward and reverse. They've also changed how this reverser actually works. They used to, when you put it into forward or reverse, it would actually stay in that position. They've now changed that to basically like a micro switch option. The minute you go forward with it, it's in forward, but when you let go, it goes back to that center section. A little bit different to get used to, but nothing major. It's actually kind of nice because then you don't have to worry about something that's supposed to latch that, not holding it in position. And then when you want to go back to park, obviously you just go like that and it goes to park. Another big change, you'll notice that there's no analog instrumentation, no gauges at all, actually no real dashboard of any kind at all. They've removed that completely, and they've actually changed that and put that into this primary display unit on the front pillar of the cab. They've pulled this out of their bigger tractors and combines. They've been using it for years in those tractors. They've now brought that technology down into the 5000 series, and this is really nice because it cleans up this whole vision. You can see everything in front of you. You have great visibility to both tires. You have excellent visibility to both loader masts and your bucket. It's really improved this whole front of the cab view. And actually we can turn that on and show you how it, basically it's all digital. So you have all your instrumentation. You have your engine RPM, your miles per hour, and then your transmission data. So your reverser position, obviously park, neutral, forward, and reverse. You would also have here, when the tractor is actually running, you would have a current selected gear as well as your current selected range. Four-wheel drive on and off, your engine coolant temperature, fuel level, and your DEF fluid level. Down here you have what they call run pages. On this one, the first page is always preset to your hitch position, and you cannot change that. That stays like that all the time. You cannot change that. But you also have 4 additional run pages that you can turn on and move to, and you can actually custom tailor those to what you want the information to display. You have an upper and a lower on each run page, and these can be changed depending upon whatever you want to set them at through the layout manager inside this computer, which is really nice. The interface for this, the way this works, all your instrumentation is here, but you actually interface with that with this interface unit here on the dashboard. So you have a check button for OK, a back button, and then a menu button, as well as 6 different hotkeys that you can jump directly to different settings. So the hotkeys take you directly to a specific section. So you have your draft control for your 3-point hitch, your upper limit for your 3-point hitch, your raise and lower rates for your 3-point hitch, different engine options, transmission options, and then hydraulic setting options as well. And then basically you use this knob to navigate left to right, and then you have a check and a back button to change that. Another big change in this tractor, and this is another driving reason why we bought this machine over the old 5M. The biggest change in this tractor, and what makes it so expensive primarily, is this transmission. They offer 2 brand new transmissions in this tractor. They have what they call the CommandQuad manual and the Command 8. This is the CommandQuad manual. This is the standard transmission. The Command 8 is an optional transmission. The biggest difference between the two, this transmission, the CommandQuad manual, is a 16-16 transmission. So it's 16 forward gears, 16 reverse. The Command 8 is the same transmission basically, but what they've done is they've split the forward gears. So you have 32 forward gears and 16 reverse. And the Command 8 has another feature that this one does not have, and that's an automatic mode. So you can actually take this lever and slide it over into an automatic position, and then there's a thumb wheel on your controller that allows you to dial in specifically what speed you want to operate at, and the transmission will take care of that itself. When we were buying this tractor, the automatic mode really wasn't something we thought we would really need, so we just went with the standard 16-16. This is the CommandQuad manual, and believe me, it's definitely a step up from the old twin stick, gear and range that the 5M had. This is one of the biggest reasons why we bought this tractor. We do a lot of work where we're working in a field and we're jumping off the field and getting onto a road, and in our area, people are very impatient. So this transmission is really nice. The way this works, you have an A, B, and a C range, just like you had before, and you have 4 gears per range. But you also have 2 what they call multi-ranges. So you have a CD and a BCD. If I'm in a multi-range, I can actually use this lever to gear up or gear down. And if I go, let's say I go to BCD, and I'm in BCD mode, and I start off in B1, I can go B2, B3, B4. Now, before, if I wanted to change the C range, I would have to stop, shift to C range, or if it was a synchronized one, you could clutch in and shift to C range. Now, if I'm in B4 and I want to get into C1, I don't have to do anything. I can just hit that one more time, and the tractor will automatically change range and go to C1, and it'll seamlessly step right through those ranges in the multi-range button. I can also, if I'm on the road, I can throttle up, and I can actually just hold this lever down, and it will sequentially drop all the gears. So it almost is an automatic in a way, but it doesn't have that fine-tuned feature that the Command 8 does. Awesome transmission. This is, compared to what we had before, this is a huge step up, and it's also very similar to the transmissions that we have in our larger tractors here. So this was a driving force as to why we bought this 5R series. On your hand throttle, I'll fold this down out of the way so you can see. Your hand throttle works just like they always have. You have 3 different settings on here that you can turn on and off as well. You have an economy mode, which allows you to set a lower engine RPM that the tractor will try to operate at if it can. You have field cruise, which is really cool. Field cruise allows you to go into the computer system and dial in specifically what RPM you want the engine to run at. And then when you activate field cruise and that little light comes on, let's say I have it set for like 1950 RPM. Well, if field cruise is active and set at 1950, and I take my hand throttle and I move it all the way to the top, it will only run up to 1950. So you don't have to worry about fine tuning that hand throttle to get that PTO operation to run right where you want it. 3-point hitch controls, your electro-hydraulic controls that have been the same on the 5M and the 5Rs that really haven't changed this much. Biggest difference here is they've now taken out the mechanical adjustments that used to be under here, and they've made them electronic through the dashboard. Quick up, quick down, and then your draft position and your presets. 3 selected control valve controls, again 2 300 series and 1 200 series, and this is again the pressure and flow compensated hydraulics. Your PTO switch, they've changed this. They now have the one where you push down and push forward to activate it, pull back to shut it off. I like this switch a lot better than the old pull-up style that they had on the 5M. It's just a little bit more robust. On the mast here, this is the button for your hydraulic remote implement latch. So as a safety, you have to press both of these buttons at the exact same moment in order to uncouple the bucket to unhook it. And then another light switch here to control your lights on the loader mast. We bought this cell phone mount through Deere too. This is a RAM mount, X grip. It's really nice for mounting your cell phones. If you don't have one of these and you want to mount a cell phone, this is the one I suggest because it ties directly into the factory cab mounts inside the cab here. This is available through John Deere. The air conditioning system of this tractor, they haven't changed much. The only thing they really did do differently on these 5Rs is they've added these additional louvers in specific points in the cab where you had issues in the past with defogging, defrosting. Those have definitely been an improvement. I've used this tractor enough now to tell you that those are a good addition. Premium audio in this tractor, so it has a AM, FM, and Bluetooth radio, no CD. But you do have Bluetooth capability in this tractor now, so this thing will sync up to your phone. Works just like what you'd find in an automotive style radio. So you can take phone calls with it. You actually have a Bluetooth speaker right here. It picks up everything you say. This cab is incredibly quiet, so it's definitely nicer than the old style radios. It's basically the equivalent of what you'd find in a really nice car today. He also added an auxiliary input jack for the radio, as well as a powered USB port to charge something. We also bought these additional USB chargers for the cigarette lighter or the PowerPoint, just in case you want to charge anything else. On the right-hand armrest, again, this is a loader tractor, so they offer two different loader controls. They offer a mechanical loader control, which is your cable-driven, and they also offer this electro-hydraulic unit. This is an upgrade. We selected this upgrade. If it were up to me, this is the one you want, but if price point is an issue, then you might want to stay away from this because this is an expensive upgrade. But basically, this system is all electronic, and what's nice about this, not only does this control your loader, but it also allows you to control the tractor's transmission as well. So basically, you can operate this tractor with your left hand on the steering wheel and do all of your loader work with the right hand, and then you don't actually have to move your hand at all. So you have a gear up and a gear down button. You also have a power reverser forward and reverse button, as well as your third function for your loader. And what's really sweet about this, they added this micro switch on here as a safety. So when you first turn this tractor on, the system locks, and it's completely unusable until you hit this button and unlock it. Once you unlock it, then this becomes active. In order for this loader joystick to function, you actually have to stick your hand through here and activate that micro switch, and you'll get a little green light here, and it tells you that the thing is active, and now you can run your loader functions just like you normally would. The transmission controls actually function without that being locked, but the actual hydraulic motion of this lever gets locked out until you hit that button and unlock it and put your hand through the safety. Nice upgrade. This is really easy to use. Very, very low input from the operator. I think it's a lot nicer than the old cable-driven controls. You don't necessarily have the feel that you have on a cable-driven control, but it's a lot less effort, and over the long day, I think this is the one you want to go with. Extremely, extremely precise. You can do really, really precise motions with this, and I love it. I think it's a fantastic upgrade. Down here you have your lever that controls between your standard 540 and your 540 economy modes. Obviously the PTO has to be off, tractor has to be stopped in order for this to be switched. You can switch it while the tractor's running, but the PTO needs to be shut off and not moving. And you can jump between those two. If you're doing a lot of low effort or low power requirement PTO work, the 540E does save you a ton of fuel. On the side here you have an option here we added, which is your PowerPoint, which is nice if you're going to be running different types of baler monitors or things like that, or any kind of additional power. It's not a very expensive upgrade. It was one of those things where we don't really need it right now, but rather than having to cut and tap into wires down the road, this is a nice thing to just have them add right at the dealership when you're buying the tractor new, and we had them put that on. And in terms of the operator seat itself, some things that they've changed over the M, which we really like. They've made these armrests full-length armrests now. The old armrests used to be these little short things that were about this long, and they were just awkward. You really couldn't get comfortable in the seat. They've changed these and made them full-length now. It's a lot better, a lot more comfortable. This is a full air suspension seat. It also has a heating element in it, so in the wintertime you flip that switch, you got a heated seat just like you have in your car. Super comfortable. So far, no complaints with the seat. And then down here on the base of the floor here, they've added a couple things. They added a storage tray right here, which is great for like little additional stuff, or maybe like a lunchbox or something like that. And then they've also changed down here on this plate. They added a little lip. There used to be just an edge here, and everything. If you put like your lunchbox or a drink or something down here, every time you're on a different type of terrain or you slammed on the brakes or something, that stuff was flying on the floor. They've now put this little tray in here to keep all that stuff contained, and that's really nice. Overall, I think the cab's nice. It's extremely quiet, very comfortable. The lighting is good. The visibility is fantastic. I mean, they really haven't changed a whole lot in the cab from the 5M, but there are enough changes here that it's noteworthy. Over here you have a fuse panel underneath this plate here. You can also buy what they call the field office, which is basically like a briefcase that you can snap down into this position. And that field office kind of is nice because if you're carrying a lot of paperwork or if you're traveling a lot and you need to carry stuff with you in the tractor that you don't want stuff flying around everywhere, you can put it in that field office, and it fits right in this position right here. Again, with the premium audio system, this tractor comes with all-around speakers in the roof, and you also have a built-in subwoofer down here as well. And the audio is fantastic. It's crystal clear, and you can really really appreciate that whenever you're in here running for a long period of time. Other than that, rear wiper visibility of the drawbar is about the same as it was on the 5M. No issues there. And a tip-out window. I think that pretty much covers it inside the cab. But overall, we're really happy with the tractor. I've put, I think, close to 40 hours on it so far. It's absolutely fantastic. Incredibly powerful, incredibly smooth. No major issues with the tractor at all. I have no real complaints. A couple little things that I want to point out again, and I'm hoping John Deere sees this and they're paying attention. Some little things that we've come across so far with this tractor that I'd like to see them address. Again, those auxiliary loader lights, I really like to see them make something option or available as LED instead of the halogens. I think that's a worthwhile upgrade, primarily because I think, number one, the LEDs are a lot better at nighttime. Number two, they're a lot more rugged than these halogens are, and they don't create the heat or the electrical draw that these halogens do. The other complaint I have, I'd like to see John Deere fix, is with this panoramic roof shade. If you're operating on level ground, like maybe a lot of these tractors are, this would never be an issue. But in southwestern Pennsylvania and the kind of hills and things that we deal with here, an issue I have with this, there's no lock on this cover at all. So if I'm going up a hill and I have a rough time going up a hill, or I'm hitting bumps or anything like that, and I want this closed, it tends to want to do this over time. So you're constantly adjusting it. Vice versa, if I'm going down a hill and I'm hitting bumps, it wants to slide close on you all the time. There's no latch on this at all. There needs to be at least a latch to lock it in the open position and the closed position, so that it's not just kind of slide around on its own. Again, not a major problem, not a major deal, but it's just one of those things when you're spending the kind of money that you're spending when you're buying this level of tractor, those little refinement things are kind of nice. So I think that's something they could address. They could definitely fix that. I don't think it'd be a major problem. I'd like to see them do it. I think it'd be really, really worthwhile. It's just those nice little fine-tuning things that you come to expect when you buy the that green and yellow paint. And Jake will tell you, he's doing the camera work for me. There's nobody that bleeds green more than me. And that's only not because I'm preferential, but we've always had John Deere tractors. They've been fantastic equipment for us. We've never really had any trouble with them. The dealer support is fantastic, and we just really like the tractor. But overall, the 5R is fantastic. I'm not going to lie to you; it's extremely expensive compared to a 5M. But we've always had premium tractors here. We had 2 or 3 premium spec 6000 series tractors. When we bought that 5000 series a couple of years ago, there wasn't a premium spec. The M was as high as you could go, and it was a good tractor. There was nothing wrong with it. But once these came out and the options were available, that kind of made them very similar to the 6000s in terms of training, in terms of capability, and the additional features that made this tractor very, very, very appealing to us. So that's why we decided we were going to buy one. We got rid of that 5M and bought this instead. So thanks for watching. I apologize, I know it's a long video, but very worthwhile. If you have any specific questions about any options on this tractor, please post a comment in the video below. Let me know exactly what you'd like to know or what you'd like to see, and I will gladly do a video for you, because like I said, when I was going to buy one of these, there was no information available. So I'm trying to get this out there so that you can, if you have any questions or you have any specific concerns or interest in this tractor, I'd be happy to help you with that. I'm also going to down the road do a couple more videos, because there's a lot more information on that heads-up display. I'll go into some of the specifics on that, like the field cruise and some other options that are in there down the road. But thanks for watching, and I appreciate it. I hope this is a helpful video for you, and appreciate it. Have a good day.